Hi there, this is Allison with Let's Go Travel Tips. Today is Monday, it's August 8th of 2022, and as usual, we have lots to talk about. So thank you all for being here with me. I'm delighted to have you. So what I wanted to start off with is the biggest news today. Norwegian has made a really big announcement today. So Norwegian Cruise Lines, and this applies to Norwegian, Oceania, and to Regent 7 Seas because they are all owned by Norwegian Cruise Line. They have made a big announcement that they are changing some of their vaccine and testing protocols effective September 3rd of 2022. So it says vaccinated travelers will no longer need to test to embark on a cruise, and unvaccinated travelers may embark by providing proof of a negative COVID test, an antigen, or a PCR test taken no more than 72 hours before embarkation. So that is basically 3 days. But since they said 72 hours, I would pay attention to the 72 hours. It says ease of access to travel is also provided for guests of all ages, as children under the age of 12 will be welcomed aboard without any testing or vaccination requirements. So here's the breakdown on all of it. So vaccinated travelers who are ages 12 and older do not need to have a test to embark. If you're vaccinated, you're good to go. Unvaccinated travelers will need to present that negative COVID test, the antigen or the PCR, within the 72 hours. Travelers aged 11 and under are not subject to any vaccination or any testing requirements. So there you go. And then finally, vaccinated travelers must meet the generally accepted definition of fully vaccinated based on the destination in which they are embarking the ship and or traveling to, and you have to provide proof of that vaccination. Travelers who cannot provide proof of a vaccination will be considered unvaccinated and subject to any additional testing protocols. So it says that and it also goes on to point out that as part of this, the crew and everyone on the ship is still going to be fully vaccinated, and they are still going to regularly test them. Okay, it says certain destinations, and this is why they had that caveat earlier on, such as Canada, Bermuda, and Greece, may have specific protocols and requirements that will vary slightly, and it will impact those voyages. And so if you're going to be sailing on those voyages, Norwegian is going to contact you. They'll email you and let you know what is required for those sailings. Okay. I know that, I have been getting a lot of questions lately about, do you need to have a booster to sail to Alaska because you'll be going to Canada? You don't. I just double checked everything. No one is talking about a booster just to go to Canada on the Alaska sailings or on the New England sailings. Now, the New England sailings, it's a little bit different if you were like on the one that goes from like New York to Canada and then on to Greenland. That one, that 16-day one, they are requiring a booster on. But just to go to Canada this year, when you're on an Alaska cruise or just on those New England ones thus far, as of today, they are not requiring a booster. So I don't know where people are getting that, but they don't. And I just double checked the protocols right before I am doing this video this morning. So the next thing that I wanted to make sure that you know about the Norwegian update, sorry for that little sidetrack there. Please note that while we welcome guests ages 11 and older and under with no restrictions, it is the responsibility of the guest to be aware of any local protocols and or travel restrictions in the place of the destinations that they're visiting. And they said that on Thursday, Norwegian said on Thursday, August 11th, they are going to be notifying their passengers who are sailing from September 3rd through September 30th to destinations that have those increased requirements, including boosters or any other requirements. And so the destinations that they have listed under that are the Bahamas, Bermuda, Canada, Cayman Islands, and Greece. And so if you are sailing to one of those locations from September 3rd through the 30th, you're going to hear from Norwegian on August 11th. And so if any of you are in that category and have a sailing booked, I would love it if you will send me what they send you. I am really hoping that I receive an update on that as well. And I surely will update all of you as soon as I know. But if any of you receive that information, thanks for sending it along to me. That would be great. If you wouldn't mind, just send it to me in an email. And my email is always down below my videos here. The next thing that I want to talk to you about is this is an interesting thing. Yesterday, under one of my videos, someone commented and said that they had talked to a travel agent in the UK, and that like currently, like the UK has no vaccine, no testing requirement to come into the UK, and indeed they don't. And the same with the EU. You can travel even to Greece, that has that little tighter requirement for testing that we're so used to boarding a cruise ship. You can go to Greece without having to prove a vaccination or a negative COVID test. I just checked that this morning as well. And so I wanted to tell you all this. It's really an important distinction, I think, that when you are looking at what is required to board a cruise ship in these locations or to visit these locations, it is really important to pay attention to what the cruise line is requiring. So I think So first of all, because the cruise lines have their own thing, I believe that when we first were starting off the cruise season during this restart over there in Europe, which is in 2021, we had a few sailings of some of the major cruise lines in Europe. But this year, everyone has tried to get back to where they were before. And so when they initially started, they had to pay attention to what the EU's healthy sail requirements were, everything to go with all of that and what was required everywhere. But as things have loosened up a little bit, like now the EU, it sounds like they have taken away a lot of their requirements. The UK, they have been wide open for a long time, but the cruise lines still have the requirements in place that they feel like they need to have, and it's not always based on what the country requires. And so I wanted to make sure that you are really clear that when you are looking at the requirements to sail somewhere, look at what your cruise line's requiring, okay? Don't just think that, oh, well, I can fly into the EU and go anywhere I want without a test. You need to do what the cruise lines want. And so I just wanted to make that super clear. And it's kind of like here in the US, as the CDC removed that program, that their cruise ship program. Some of the cruise lines were seeing some changes, like we've seen a little with Royal Caribbean, a little bit with Carnival. Now this that was announced today by Norwegian, but they are in no means taking everything away because a governmental program is no longer in existence. So just make sure that you're super clear on that. I don't want anyone thinking, well, it's wide open, so I can go get on the ship and I don't need to worry about it. That's not the way it is at all. And so that's part of like why I have just taken this move with my channel for now, is to try to keep everybody up to date so that you have a good idea of what is expected to sail. So just wanted to make sure that you're clear on that. And then also, we've had some questions from one of our Let's Go family members several times yesterday in the last couple of days, has asked, can anyone comment on your cruising experience if you have cruised as an unvaccinated passenger? They're wondering what it's like, so it made me go back through my emails and information that I've received from those of you who have done that, and it sounds like everyone's has gone really smoothly. I haven't heard of anyone having a very different experience than everyone else, so I hope that helps, but I would really appreciate it if any of you that have sailed that way can comment on it. Our Let's Go family member, Renee, was really kind. She pointed out that like when you book with Carnival, and this also applies like we've seen with Royal Caribbean and Princess, I'm familiar with, and Holland America and Celebrity, that you need to book your cruise and then you ask about the exemption, and if you don't get one, they will give your money back. You can cancel your cruise. Now Carnival, I know we've had several Let's Go family members comment that sometimes you don't know if you've got that exemption until really close to when you're going to sail, but then also like with Princess, you can call and just get it right away. And so just be aware that that is kind of how they're doing that. But like I said, I would love to hear from any of you that have sailed unvaccinated, so that it can kind of help anyone else in our Let's Go family who's not vaccinated kind of know what to expect. Let's see, I've got that. And then the next thing I want to talk to you about is we have got an update from our Let's Go family member, Carl, and he is going to be sailing on the Quantum of the Seas here on August 29th. And as you all know, the Quantum of the Seas, if you've been here much, the Quantum of the Seas was having some propulsion problems, and then they've got to do some routine engine maintenance. And so they are going to have to sail a little bit slower, and that's going to affect their itineraries. They were hoping to have it fixed after those first 3 sailings of August, but they've had to extend it. And so I just wanted to bring you up to date on that. It is the onboard credit that they are going to receive is like the one that I told you about that is earlier in August. I told you about it just at the end of last week. One of our Let's Go family members let us know. So you get $75 for the interior and ocean view staterooms, $100 if you're in a balcony cabin of onboard credit, and $200 if you're in a suite. And so let me go ahead and tell you what the changes in the itinerary are. They are going to be calling in, they'll leave Seattle as planned, have a sea day, and then they'll be in Ketchikan from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m., Sitka from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. as well, then in Juneau from 7:30 in the morning until 3 in the afternoon, a sea day, and then in Victoria from 5 p.m. to 10 p.m., and then they'll be in Seattle again the next day. So I hope that helps some of you know what to expect on your sailing as well. Now, the last thing that I wanted to tell you about is our Let's Go family member Ronald was just on the Discovery Princess, and disembarking in Seattle, he used the Port Valet, and and I want to share with you what he says to be careful with. And so, first of all, that Port Valet there in Seattle, he said, is free. It was an excellent service, with the exception of the trouble that he had with his luggage tag. So his luggage failed to make it on his flight back home, but it made it on a later flight, and it arrived to his house by Alaska Airlines at about 9:45 p.m. He said, when I saw that the luggage tag originally supplied was wrapped around the luggage handle so tightly that it could hardly be read, that would be why it didn't make his flight. And so he said, the next time I use Port Valet, I will certainly place their small luggage tag inside one of the Alaska provided luggage holders that securely attaches to his luggage handle. So if you're going to use that Port Valet, slide that tag into, like, they have the different tag holders, and you could slide it in there, like the ones that we have for when we board a princess ship. They have like those, like, I don't know if it's steel or what, but it is a very, very strong cord, and we slide it in there, and that's not going to be broken or come off easily. And so get something like that. And like he says, make sure that it is airline approved, but you could slide your tag in there so that your baggage doesn't get delayed. So thank you, Ronald, for telling us that, because that is an amazing service. I think that everyone, it really helps them to be aware of that, but at the same time to know to slide the little tag that they give you into a larger luggage tag holder. So that is what I have for you today. One more thing I do want to tell you all about Princess. Yesterday we had like a lot of comments on my video because there's a little bit of the protocols don't quite agree on the Princess website, but I wanted to let you all know that they have taken away from their wording on the Princess website anything that says like they'll be sailing at like 90% capacity. They used to have it say 90%, once the CDC said you could have 10% unvaccinated instead of 95%, but they had left it saying 95% on sailings from the UK and UK and Europe for a long time, but now those numbers are gone. And so I don't know what percentage they are going to be sailing at of vaccinated passengers, but I just wanted to let you know that that is gone from the wording. I had a few questions on that, and so I wanted to let you know about it. As of about 10 o'clock a.m. Mountain Time, Princess had not updated their protocols today, so if they update them, otherwise I will let you know and keep an eye on it. If any of you have any other information that would help us, any experience on any cruise ship that you're sailing on now or have sailed on recently, we would really appreciate hearing from you. Don't forget that we've got our live tonight. It's always on Monday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern, and I think that tonight we might have to keep it to an hour, so come, bring your questions, and we will be really excited to see all of you. I really appreciate your all being here. If you haven't subscribed yet, will you please subscribe to our channel? It'll really help us out, and I think it'll be a really good thing in your life. And hit that little notification bell so that you don't miss any updates, because everything is changing so quickly right now. I also wanted to ask you all, if you appreciate these updates, would you please give this video a thumbs up? It really does help move our video up so that when people are looking for cruise videos, that they might get offered ours. So thank you. I'll be talking to you all again really soon. You all take really good care. God bless you. Love you. Bye-bye.